go through.
Oh, ladders. Need your ladders.
Ah. Yes,
All right.
ladders are important as well.
All right, so we see Bob choosing Bubbleman first, and CapitanBublo starting with Flashman. Flashman's a pretty common first boss to choose. There's really nothing that you can gain with any zips or anything, and it's a relatively easy stage on top of that. So, Bubbleman also doesn't have a ton of setups for zips either, especially where you're not sure if item 1's going to allow you to do zips, because it's one of the things that is randomized.
I believe there's one zip right here at the bottom of this area that you can set up that doesn't require an item 1 or item 3.
Yeah, if you use a pause buffering, you can get yourself in the wall or in the ceiling on this next screen. And one of the reasons why you can do Bubbleman first now is that because you don't know if you're going to have an item 1 that'll work or not, to set that up, you're better off, just doing what you know will work, which is the pause buffer strat. So
Bob certainly went for it, but was unable to get it to work for him, unfortunately.
He was very close. I think he was only off by a pixel or two. So it looks like CapitanBublo, he made sure to grab an E-tank in Flashman stage. That's one of the nice features of stopping in Flashman stage first, is that you can grab an E-tank, and depending upon what kind of boss you see, that's definitely comes in handy. And we see our first boss, and it's Airman, who happens to be weak, according to the Buster. So Capitan moving on to his second Robot Master already, finishing up Airman.
Oh no, Bob the Builder getting voted off one of the platforms by one of the enemies here. This is a pretty highly populated area Bob's in. He's going to lose a bit of time just from missing the skip, but not only that, the amount of lag from all the sprites is going to slow him down, unfortunately. Not what you want to have happen when the objective is to go fast.
Yeah, and it certainly seems like the shrimp that are spawning are they have quite a few hit points to them, so it makes it extra difficult. I mean, that he just mashed into that, sounded like 6 or 7 hits, and the shrimp would not go down.
Yeah, I counted at least 6. So they're our shrimp today are a pretty tough breed today.
Yeah, it's definitely a jumbo hit HP shrimp for sure. This sequence here for Bob looks like it's this is definitely a dangerous section because of the enemies here being able to knock you off. It looks like he's getting into the boss corridor now. So we'll get to see our second boss and who it is in the Bubbleman stage.
Now, I did not see if CapitanBublo attempted to try for the skip or not, but he's now in the same awful little lag prison that Bob the Builder just found himself out of.
And it looks like Bubbleman is in his own boss room, so obligatory, is this even randomized? I guess we have to ask, but Bob finishes him off, and he gets to move on to his second Robot Master now. And we'll see how CapitanBublo
made the same mistake Bob did with trying to jump across and just getting thwomped off there and sent down into the abyss.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate. That screen is definitely a scary one, I think, on Randomizer. And it's gotten both of the runners so far. I see Bob moving on to Flash, Quickman, which is another pretty common early stage. There's some utility items that you can pick up. You can pick up an E-tank here, and again, anytime you can have some E-tanks in your back pocket, it's helpful.
Oh, Bob looked like he touched another spike and took a second death here on this stage. believe with 1 life remaining, it might be a decision on if he just nopes out of here and tries to come back later.
Yeah, we'll see what his strategy here is. I know he has an E-tank in his back pocket, so we'll see if he puts that to use or not.
Unfortunately, the E-tank's not going to help if you hit the spikes, and that's unfortunately what he did the last time around. He may have got knocked into the spikes. And
yeah, so let's see. We're coming back to the boss approach here in Bubbleman stage. It's caused trouble for everybody so far. While Bob is making his way to the Flashman boss area, so he has a bubble weapon. He's gonna start seeing if he can find. Oh
no, another death. He had it so close. All he had to do was have the second one jump over, and he would have been able to make the jump across. That's at least how Bobdedbuilder did it.
Yeah, that's definitely difficult. You're kind of trying to use some it looks like trying to use some iframes to get through there as well, which isn't a bad idea. But we see Bob take a death to Quickman running around the boss his boss room. Interesting. Already seen 2 bosses in their native boss rooms in this seed. So that's pretty interesting. That doesn't happen super often.
Now, Bobdedbuilder picked up an energy tank earlier on in this stage. It would be unfortunate if he forgot about it and took a death. Oh, now he's going for it. And it looks like CapitanBublo has found his way past that choke point.
So that's our second our Robot Master for Bobdedbuilder down, and CapitanBublo is making his way to face off against Bubbleman. And it doesn't look like we've seen any pickups of utility items yet, so
yeah, so far we've not seen any Item 1, Item 2, or Item 3 drops from any of the bosses. We already know Bubbleman will not drop one, as Bobdedbuilder has already defeated that.
So now we're looking at Flashman for Bob, which again these are the 3 stages that that a lot of players start off with. It makes sense to start off. There's not a ton that you can gain from doing the other stages first. These are you can't even without a ton of utility items. There's not much to improve in speed wise on these stages. So CapitanBublo's moved over to Airman, which is another one that there isn't a ton of zips or anything that can be accomplished. So it's often a first 4 stage in for the runners.
Now, Bob used a couple of his items and checked the crash barriers, and right now we know it's not Bubble and it's not Metal Blade.
That'll be useful for later. Most seeds require you to figure out what that is so that you can fight the Boo Beam Trap at the end of Wily 4. CapitanBublo's just taken an unfortunate game over on Airman stage, but goes straight back to it, undaunted. And Bob is now approaching Flashman's boss fight, which I believe was Airman.
Falling off again. Yes, it was Airman.
One of the many things that's randomized in this is patterns for bosses and what their unfortunate death there for Bob. Got blown into Airman from when he was hiding right behind him.
I think that took him completely by surprise, both that he got blown into Airman and the sheer amount of damage that you take from touching Airman's body. because again, Bob the Builder did have an E-tank as he had just picked one up in the corridor right outside of the boss. But, well, I don't think he had any choice in using it or not, because he just got surprised by the sheer amount of damage caused by touching Airman.
So, looks like Bob's heading for Woodman, where CapitanBublo's decided to skip the Airman stage and go to a different location and work on a different stage. Doesn't want to deal with Airman stage any longer. Which is certainly a viable strategy. You know, when you're having trouble in any given stage, it's never a bad idea to jump out and then come back later once you have some additional weapons and some new some new items to be able to back you up and maybe make things a little easier.
Yeah, hopefully getting a couple new items in some of the other stages will help him get through the second time around on Airman. Or, you know, potentially picking up an item too and trying to just zip across the stage in that manner.
Bob, with the unfortunate amount of health on the little pea shooter there, and looks like CapitanBublo took a death to the beams in Quickman stage. Definitely seeing a lot of not seeing a ton of health drops on Bob's screen, where normally you'd get with all of these drills, you usually get, you know, some health as well as energy drops, but it's been a lot more energy than it has been health, which is kind of frustrating on a screen like that. And now we're starting to see them.
Screws were being very stingy.
Putting the bubble to good use. And it looks like that pea shooter's taking, you know, something in the neighborhood of like 6 or 8 shots again, which is the health of the enemies is randomized a bit, and sometimes you get enemies that just have way more health than you're expecting and that you're used to, and it makes life a little more difficult for sure. Hopefully that's hopefully not too many more bad guys like that for sure for the rest of the run.
Yeah, that does not help things at all. Bob the Builder is finding some solace in the Metal Blade being fairly effective against the flame cats and also these short little flame shooters.
Whew. That was a slick jump right there in the Woodman stage.
That was a good exercise in patience, as if he would have jumped earlier, I think he would have been hit and sent to unfortunate demise.
And looks like CapitanBublo's decided that he's going to go back and take care of Airman stage now. I think he's found what he's looking for, and hopefully has what he needs to make it through this stage now. Looks like oh no!
Oh, both players dying to pretty much the same enemy on different stages.
Yeah, it looks like quite a few Sniper Joes hanging around in this particular seed, so causing trouble for both of our runners here.
Oh, there we go. Captain found his way through using the Metal Blade and getting rid of the bot armor Joe has there to send him down to the abyss. Rather fortunate item pickup as well. Oh no!
Oh, no. Yeah, with the large number of Joes on the screen, it's just proving to be a little difficult for Capitan to make his way through Especially with the mech armors, they just take up a lot of space and make it difficult to get through.
Well, the clouds on the top are not helping very much either, as you can't see where the enemies are, and CapitanBublo seems to have aborted his second attempt at Airman. And it looks like it's going to go back to Metal Man's stage. Looked like
Metal
his
Man
cursor was on Woodman, but that's not the case.
And looks like we're seeing Woodman on Woodman's stage, which is interesting.
You did say this was a randomizer race, right?
I sure thought it was. We have not seen too many random bosses, that's for sure. At least in different locations.
So at least one got randomized. So that means a second one has to be at the end of Airman's stage, but I was kind of hoping for a little bit more.
Yeah, and I still think we're waiting on our first item as well. I've been trying to keep track, but I haven't seen any items accrued from our runners beating any of the Robot Masters so far.
Well, we know the first 3 stages that both runners have completed. No drops or no items have been found, and this last one from Bobdedbuilder, I don't believe resulted in an item either.
No, so they're still making their way through with nothing but regular Mega Man ability. So just jumping and shooting, no jet sleds or items of any sort.
Which is kind of unfortunate, because you're going to need those items to set up your zips later on if they try for them. Ooh, nice pause buffering to get past that ledge and escape taking a death. Oh, that's not something I want to see. The air fans, although I guess at the boss you don't have to worry too much about them.
No, it's definitely preferable that they spawned where they were there, as opposed to, well, we see Bob dealing with it right now. It's an unfortunate, difficult to make this jump because of the fan guy moving you backwards, and we see Heatman is in the stage for Metal Man, so that's another random boss. So we know that we should see some randomness at the end of our run for sure.
Well, so far Heatman's putting in a little bit of work. He said nope to the bubble. Nope to Metal Blade. I believe he took some damage from the crash bomb, but it looks like we're going to go with the Buster here as the most effective way to get rid of Heatman. And now CapitanBublo's caught back up with his 4th Robot Master defeated, as Bobdedbuilder goes into his 5th boss fight.
So we see, and still with 5 bosses that we know of, we still have yet to see any kind of utility item yet. So it's starting to look like they might be located in the stages where you'd like to have them, which is too bad.
Unfortunately, we know it's Crashman, Heatman, and Airman where the items are going to be found, because we know Woodman does not have an item in it.
Well, it looks like Bob found a weakness there for Heatman and made short work of him with the quick boomerang. So I'm sure that'll come in handy later on in the refights.
So this is just an unfortunate side effect of the randomizer of Airman having a item in it, and it's one where you'd really love to have one of those items to get through certain aspects of this stage, as we're about to find out. And Bobdedbuilder might end up being... Ooh, he remembered that the Metal Blade was effective, but not very much so against the actual Joe himself.
Yeah, it's too bad that it's effective on the armor and not on the Joe itself. As the Stomper decides to just jump off a ledge there. Bob's making sure to get over that hump there and make sure that if he's gonna take damage, he's gonna be well on the platform so he doesn't get knocked off. It's a safe, smart play for sure.
Yeah, I think this is just a matter of trying to get to the end of this aspect of the stage, and once you get to the checkpoint...
Ooh, I thought for sure that Bob had taken a hit there.
Oh, getting the energy. I think he's protected from taking a hit now, but...
certainly from a shot, but... Oh boy, this could be dangerous. Oh no, I caught
him right before he ended up going down the screen. But at least he's at the checkpoint and doesn't have to deal with that madness in the first part of the Airman stage anymore.
Looks like we might be having some connection issues there for CapitanBublo. Hopefully that'll sort itself out. But it looks like he's still making his way through Woodman, utilizing the Bubble Man's weapon for sure at the moment.
Yeah, I guess not much you can really say about the slideshow show on CapitanBublo's screen, so we won't focus on that too much. Hopefully Bobdedbuilder can find his way through the rest of the Airman stage, and as I say that, the boss gate appears, and hopefully we'll get to see what's hiding behind door number 2.
See Metal Man making an appearance with a all black background, an ominous sight for sure. Bob's trying to use the Airman tornadoes, and it's doing a little more than base damage, but not significantly so, but it's working, so he's going to stick with it.
Now, one thing we'd want to mention is the air shooter, it shoots at a random speed and a random distance, so normally you would have the air shooter shoot in a very specific pattern, but this one's a little slower, and the further air shots going out a lot further. And as I say that, Bobdedbuilder switches to the bubble and finishes off his 6th boss. And there is item 1 in Airman stage.
So he's going to crash. I guess he's hoping that he gets maybe item 2 or item 3, I guess, here for the purpose of zipping in Heatman stage, or at the very least skipping some of the Yoku blocks, which are always a fun ordeal on Randomizer.
Well, I think technically you'd be okay with either one, because you could just item 2 across the pit, although it would cost you, well, pretty sure the entirety of the energy meter to do it.
Oh yes, absolutely. So you're really dealing with item 1 at the very least gives you the ability to. So it looks like these item 1s are pretty quick. So this is definitely an item 1 that you can use to zip. We see Bob setting up, or trying to set up a zip here that is a death warp. It's having a little bit of trouble with it. But what he's trying to do here is get caught in this ceiling here, and basically skips the elevators that show up later in this stage that are they take a little while to get through. So, but he's having some difficulty triggering the zip, but it looks like nope, no luck. I think after seeing that the enemies had respawned, I think he's just decided to make his way through the regular zipless route.
Yeah, there's just a point in time where you try so much and you end up losing more time than you would have gained by doing the zip. So it's, you know, unfortunate that he wasn't able to pull off the zip, but there is a point at which you just kind of go, all right, I've got to stop trying this and just get to the end of the stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this is the checkpoint room. So he's made his way through about half the stage, and there's a significant bit of climbing yet. But see what kind of enemies appear on his way up, and it looks like as he's moving screen to screen, he's scrolling up and then immediately coming back down to make sure that whatever's up there isn't going to surprise him. Which is definitely a worthwhile strategy to use for sure during this. Shrimp are an especially bad enemy on these screens, so hopefully they're not too troublesome. Oh no,
Mr. Toad there isn't too much of a better option with those lag frogs.
So we'll see how Bob tries to manage this. And it looks, there we go. I think he's fishing for some health at the moment, and he definitely got some. So, yep, he's
risky business here.
Just saw CapitanBublo finish off Woodman in Woodman's stage.
So now we have CapitanBublo going for his 6th boss, and Bobdedbuilder on his 7th boss. And CapitanBublo is going back for Airman. Is there a point at which, knowing what you know, you kind of go, alright, I've got to just try to go through Heatman or Crashman, knowing that I don't have any of the items yet, and I've got to get through something.
At a certain point, you know, if you don't have the items you want, you still have to accept. You've got to go through and hope that whatever you run into there isn't going to be too isn't going to be super rough on you. Heatman stage, just because of the way it opens with the enemy spawn points there, that can be an incredibly difficult stage. And here we see Crashman in Crashman stage. It looks like Bob's hunting for a weakness and has yet to find one. Quick boomerangs seem to do a little bit of damage, so might stick with that to finish him off. And yeah, firing Crashman's own weapon at him right now to take him down. And there goes Crashman.
Well, it's good knowledge to know for the boss refights at the end of, I believe it's the Wily 4 stage where you get the boss refights.
It's Wily 5 actually, but
okay.
Yeah, that's the case. We'll see what item he gets. Okay, so you get item 3 upon finishing Crashman stage. So no item 2 for Heatman, but item 1 and 3 are there. So definitely zips are possible if Bob wants to go for them. And we see what kind of opening screen we get here on Heatman, which can be a difficult open. And of course, it is one of the worst enemies in the entire game, which are these rooster chicken things that just make it a real problem to get through here. And unfortunately, that health causes a death. Bob picks up the health, but because he picked it up while he was in iframes in the lava, as soon as the health refill was finished, he took damage and died. So he's making his way through. He found something that kills roosters in one shot, which is probably the most important thing to have when you're going through this, is to be able to put take them out with a single shot, and that's what he's got now with the quick boomerang. So taking his time, trying not to get sniped by these guys as he moves forward.
And it's very fortunate that it's quick boomerang as well. You get a lot of usage out of that quick boomerang. With it's very efficient on the energy it uses. CapitanBublo was actually able to pull off the zip in Crashman stage.
I was just about to point out the same thing. This zip was standard for Mega Man 2, and you can use it to make your way out of immediately to the checkpoint room. Looks like Bob's having a little bit of a hard time triggering the Heatman zip, but it's alright. He's got a whole host of weapons here to try to work his way through the standard vanilla Yoku block section.
Now, is this an area where you could try item 1 as well to set up that zip, or does the platform not give you enough room to do it?
I believe you can do item 1 there. It's the window is pretty tight, however, and I'm not sure if that's something that Bob wants to waste those item 1s on. If he's concerned he might need them later in the stage for some of these sequences here with these Yoku blocks. However, he's found the weakness for the walls, so it shouldn't be too difficult for him to make his way through. Oh, looks like Bob's starting at the edge of the Yoku blocks, so he'll start making his way across here.
Yeah, now we know it's a charged heat shot that goes through the crash blocks, and that's good to know before getting to... oh no!
Oh no!
Bob went a little too far on that block.
Looks like CapitanBublo has made his way through crash the crash climb, and is now making his way to Crashman. The Crashman himself, and we'll see what he finds out in terms of boss weakness and so on. Looks like he's trying crash bombs as well.
He's gonna have to be careful because he's on 1 energy, and there go. Okay, he does have an E-tank.
Looks like the Buster is actually a pretty effective weapon against Crashman there, so that's definitely going to serve well later on.
Now, I believe that puts CapitanBublo on equal terms, if not... Oh, he's actually ahead now, as Bobdedbuilder has 1 stage left.
I think they both only have Heatman to go, so at least by my... I believe they each only have 1 to go. I'm trying to keep track, but I might have missed one.
Well, that's kind of where I'm at too. I'm going, all right, what did I miss?
Oh, see Flashman. Flashman, who seems to be in a little bit of a bouncy and huggy mood, but Bobdedbuilder takes care of him.
Oh, that's alright. Hugs for everyone.
And this will give him item 2, and I think this should send him on to the Wily stage.
Ah, yes, that would. How silly of me, because I know it was the last 3 stages, and we know he had item 1 and item 3.
Alright. So, looks like CapitanBublo's dealing with some, dealing with these chickens, which are absolutely a problem for sure, trying to get through. He's found another weapon that does a one-hit kill on them, which is the Metal Blade, and That seems to work. It's another weapon that you get quite a few shots out of before it uses energy, so that's a good find, and hopefully he can make his way through there. Here we have some of Cutman's music from the original Mega Man, playing in Wily 1. And
oh, that was close. Bublo almost got knocked off the platform, just barely able to hang on.
Looks like he's made it across the especially dangerous section of the opening portion of Heatman, and he'll get to work out his item 3, and we'll see if he goes for a zip here. It looks like he's got his zip set up.
Certainly going to try for it. By the looks of it, it looks like he's got it, although, yep.
Definitely was able to zip through there, save himself dealing with the Yoku blocks and all of the associated nonsense, which is good for him. Trying to hop onto the Yoku blocks here. Not having a little bit of trouble with the timing. You can actually jump up from where he was to... If you're in the air when that Yoku block spawns, it will actually kick you over top of it, and you're able to make that jump. So it's not a particularly rough trick, but the timing is pretty precise. And unfortunately, he falls into the lava pit, and looks like he might have to go the long way around now for the remainder of Heatman stage.
Now, he had set up that item 3 zip from there before. Ooh, looks like Bobdedbuilder's having a little problem with item 1 and getting them to go across the stage far enough so that he can grab the ladder. Ah, there we go.
One of the downsides of a fast-moving item 1 is that you can run into a situation where it moves fast enough that it's hard to throw all of them out and make it up that climb. It can be pretty difficult when they move slowly or not at all, which is one of the things that can be randomized in this. You'll get it makes it a little easier, but when they move upwards at the clip that they move in this particular seed, they can be a little difficult there. We see a gray and green dragon. That is an interesting colored dragon. So let's see what kind of weapon this dragon's weak to here.
Well, metal is a negatory. Air, negative. Leaf shield? Looks like it did damage, but not to any good amount.
Certainly not enough to stick with it.
Quick boomerangs and nope. Heatman, charged heat shot. It looked like it did a good bit of damage.
Looks like charged heat might be the way to go in this case. Bob,
oh yeah, that was a
getting
damage.
Tagged. Oh no!
Oh, he got knocked off.
That is unfortunate. He's going to have to probably go through. He did not try the regular buster, so I'd be curious. At least I didn't see him try the regular buster, so I'm not sure if he's got if that would be a weakness for the dragon or not.
Now, Bobdedbuilder is going to be in a very dire situation here, because I don't think he has enough item 1 energy to actually get across that screen there. He may have to consider taking a game over.
Yeah, it's either that or it's...
The enemies here are just so far between. It's, you know, what's going to save or cost the least amount of time, more than saving time.
Yeah, unfortunately, going through here and trying to find some energy. It looks like he's got enough to get his item 1, but the question now becomes, does he have enough energy to wipe out the dragon for the heat weapon, which I don't know how much of that he has left. I think he only had about a third of the energy there for it. So,
oh no, Bob missed his first leap at the ladder. This might be his only shot before seriously having to consider taking a game over. I don't know if he has enough to get all 3 platforms. Oh, he missed again and definitely out of energy now. Oh no, what a shame. Well, he has only 1 man left. I mean, ooh, very opportune drop there.
Yeah, that is a very fortuitous drop for Bob.
And now with CapitanBublo finishing off the Heatman stage, he's now on Wily 1 as well.
This
it looked like he had it set up and he missed the jump. Oh no, what a shame.
This particular section seems to be giving Bob a special trouble. Hopefully he can make it through. There we go.
There we go, he got it. So, he seems to have about half of his heat gauge left, and, well, we'll see what happens. CapitanBublo looks like he's using his item 2 to take the express path through the Wily stage.
1. Yeah, we'll see what... looks like if Bob is going to use heat here, it should get a good bit of the dragon down, but I'm not sure he'll have enough to finish him off entirely, so hopefully he can find secondary weakness of some kind.
He may have to look at using an E-tank. Yeah, unfortunately, he's out of both. Ooh, Woodman seems to do damage, but I don't know.
Ooh, tight.
It's enough. That's what matters.
Definitely managed to finish him off. Two health left, which would probably be a any kind of hit from the dragon. But moving on to Wily 2, so definitely a difficult fight, and now we get to see how Bob handles Wily 2. I'd assume, seeing this, he did not use his item 2 in Wily 1. He'll probably use that to get across the spikes here, as well as be curious to see if he picks up the E-tanks and the extra items around here on his way down.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did. Item 2, and just said, "Yep, gotta go. Bye."
Get the free tank right there, and an extra one up. I'll fill up some item 2. Looks like CapitanBublo is making his way to the dragon.
Yeah, with how difficult it was for Bobdedbuilder to get across the platform there, Bublo was able to make up a good amount of time, and it's only about half a stage behind at this point, and it looks like he found the weakness of the dragon, as it looks like it's at half HP already. But unfortunately, connection issue resurfacing with CapitanBublo, and it's a little difficult to see exactly what's going on there.
This is one of one of the fun things that the randomizer can do is stuff one of those tin cans in a place where it makes it especially difficult to hit it, just because it's in a corridor where its head is higher than the ceiling. So it looks like CapitanBublo just dealt with I don't know if he kissed the dragon, or if the dragon if he bumped into it, if he fell off the ledge, I don't wasn't able to see, but he's definitely back at the midpoint of Wily 1 again.
Yeah, it definitely looks like he took a death there against the dragon.
Alright, so it looks like Bob is betting on Bubble to be the weakness here. It's what he's going to start with.
Oh, and that is a negatory.
It's a good choice, given that the Bubble in this seems to go straight up, so he gets to shoot that very early. Oh, and he takes an unfortunate death there, which will bump him quite a ways back.
Uh-oh.
Yep, let's see here.
Ah, there we go. Okay. Wasn't sure if it was me, the runners, one of those days, I guess.
Yes. Had a blank screen there for a moment. And looks like CapitanBublo's made it back to the dragon, and also looks like the dragon has defeated him again. So we're going to be seeing Wily 1 from CapitanBublo again. And in the meantime, Bob's making his way back to Pico Pico Kun. Should be an... so I believe he found that Quick did decent damage to these.
I think it took a couple boomerangs before it actually took out the block, so... Oh. Buster, negative.
The air shooter works.
There we go. The air shooter seems to be the weapon of choice here.
Has to be a little careful because the tornadoes move slowly enough that if he's not careful, he can be trying to shoot and be unable to do so on these. So he's taking a precautionary item E-tank refill. And just has one to go and burned it down. So Bobdedbuilder moves right along to Wily 3.
Yeah, there we go. Quick boomerang finishing the job. Looks like the CapitanBublo slideshow is showing that he's at the ladders again, ready to make his way up toward a rematch with the dragon.
See, it looks like Bob's interested in grabbing this E-tank here. Pretty wise. He doesn't know where part of the randomizer is there's no screen watching, no keeping an eye on your opponents. But you know, if he's gone through and this is the way that he's tended to play, you know, he makes sure he has as many E-tanks and as much energy as he can. It's never a bad idea to be full up with energy as much as you can. It certainly comes in handy, especially as you get later on in the game. You never know what you're gonna need to get through certain screens and stages.
Oh, absolutely. I always want to have a situation where I have E-tanks and don't need them, then need an E-tank, and uh-oh, I don't have one.
Especially as you get later on in the run, I mean, you can run into a situation, especially during refights, where you know you're better off burning the E-tank and not dying and gaming over in refights, because you can lose a ton of time that way. So having the E-tanks in your back pocket is always a nice feeling.
Well, it looks like CapitanBublo was able to get past the dragon as Bobdedbuilder is going on to the Guts Dozer.
Trying to find a weakness here. No luck, no joy with Buster, and so far he's just making his way through the whole list. Looks like quick boomerangs are going to do it, so just has to fire a few off, and he's on to Wily 4. Which is a Mega Man 2 runner's this can definitely be a Mega Man 2 runner's worst nightmare stage. It's definitely eaten plenty of my runs. And in the randomizer, it can do all manner of interesting things. There are false floors in this stage that are randomized by the randomizer. So even if you think you know where the false floors are, you do not in this game in a randomizer run. So Bob's making his climb up. So we'll see. A lot of runners use item 2 to make sure that they don't get caught by these. There's normally a false floor right there on this screen here, and Bob's just going to say, nope, not interested, I'm just going to jump over it, and that's going to be the end of it.
It's definitely a sound strategy, especially here, because falling into the spikes is not something I would encourage anyone to do.
Definitely not. Now, these, the false floors on this screen, I do not believe are, I do not believe are randomized. So if you know where they are, you can do things. However, you can get up there and grab that E-Tank. Unfortunately, it's a lot easier with an item 1 than any other item, and it does not look like Bob has any item 1s currently. So he'll have to consider that for his for the Boo Beam trap, because it's a little difficult to get up onto the high ledges without any kind of item usage. So hopefully he either runs into some extra energy or finds something that he can put to use for getting up there and finishing them off, depending upon what the weakness of the of them is. Now this is
gonna take a death here.
That's unfortunate. That's a difficult that's a especially difficult enemy to deal with on these screens. You can survive it on this one, and it looks like
yeah, it definitely sounded like he took another death there. Is he gonna just game over just to get his energy back, or is this
I'm not sure. It looks
accidental deaths. I'm just not sure of what I'm.
It looks like he's gonna try to get through here one more time, but it'll be interesting to see how he handles the third elevator screen. Those particular enemies that dance on the gears, because they come from above the screen and they fall through there. Since you're approaching this screen from the top, you're going to get hit, and it's really just a question of,
if you could time the damage boost and have it last long enough for that platform to come around and save you. But that's just a very fine window. Unfortunately, Bob does end up game overing.
I think that the safest route is going to be to use item 1 there, but I think you could probably, as long as you have enough health, you should be able to deboost and stay on the spikes until the elevator makes its way around. But that's certainly a dicey proposition. It only takes one frame where you don't have your invincibility for you to die there, so that can be a tight window for sure.
You could think you can pause buffer, because you can't make it through the other side. You have to go around the middle area over the top. You can't make it through, as far as I'm aware, through the bottom half of that in that single space.
I'm not sure. The pause buffering might be possible, but you're really dealing with a very high. You're trying to get very far to one side, and I'm not sure how feasible that would be. Now that he has item 1, I'm expecting he'll try to go and use item 1 and deboosting to jump on the spikes and get through there, which is definitely, you know, probably the best way to go about it. Looks like he's taking his time. Unfortunately, here you're dealing with a lot of lag, and
looks
made
like
it through.
He got the damage boost, and he's through.
Yeah, so Bob's made it through all of the elevator screens now, and he gets to make his approach to the boo beam trap, see what he's dealing with. And while all that was going on, CapitanBublo made his way into Wily 4, and he's making his climb up himself. He's not using item 2, it looks like, on this screen here with the false floors. Well, what it looks like Bob was doing right there is he's trying to determine if these if the boo beam traps are actually weak to Metal Blade, because if they are, he actually doesn't have to destroy near as many of the walls.
Well, I think that would have been the same with, it looks like they're weak to the air shooter.
Bob's just avoiding taking out these last few walls and just shooting the air shooter on the right angle to wipe these out. Might actually be able to do it from down there if he's a little bit.
Yep,
there it
like
is.
He got it.
So that's Wily 4, and now we get to see some refights and see if any interesting see how much the runners remember from the fights earlier where they determined a couple of weaknesses. During runs when I do this, I always write it down if I manage to find a weakness, because I'll never remember it when I get back, you know, some 20 minutes later.
Oh, that's very true. I think a little piece of paper is my best friend when I'm running a game, because it'll just so many times where I've gone through and I'm like, I know I saw this somewhere, or I get, you know, like let's say a different randomizer. I get a game confused with one before, and I'm like, oh, well, this thing was over there, but oh wait, that was the last run I did, not this one.
Well, luckily, quite a few of these, the bosses that Bob's starting with are, they have a soft weakness to Buster, so he's making short work of the first 3 robots robot masters he's dealt with. Get to see Woodman in action. Yeah, I think that might have been the 4 with a soft weakness to Buster to start with. So we'll see what coming up next.
Well,
looks like Bob's
tank's on the menu for Bobdedbuilder in the near future.
Giving Flash a try.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely better to use that E-tank and
Just
make your way out
walk through the fight and get through it, then take the death. Absolutely.
Let's see, I do not remember the weakness for Metal Man here, if it was determined or not. But it looks like Bob's interested in hunting it down, that's for sure. Makes sense to, you know, if it's a boss that you think you have a hard time avoiding his attacks, you're probably better off making sure that you're if you go after the weaknesses, you know, you're not in any danger if you can take them out a little faster. Yeah, you might take a few seconds to find the weakness, but once you know what it is, you can burn the enemy's health down pretty quick, and it can save your life and save you an E-tank too.
Yeah, very true. Bublo is about to start his boss refights, so we've got Bobdedbuilder on his 7th boss right now?
Yep, just one more Robot Master before his Wily Machine. Looks like Boomerang does looks like two damage to Bubble Man, and it's doesn't look like it's a tough fight for Bob, so he's just gonna sit there and use that to wipe him out. Moving on to the Wily Machine. See what kind of weakness the Wily Machine has. Nope, not the quick, that's for sure. Now he's tried air, he's tried quick boomerangs. It looks like he's gonna try metal next. No luck with metal.
That's negatory.
Doesn't look like he's doesn't look like he found a weakness there. I don't believe he tried heat or
like
bubble.
Crash Bomb did some damage, but I don't think enough that he was satisfied with.
Oh, there's bubble.
Unfortunately, the energy usage isn't going to allow him to finish the boss up. Oh, another death. That's a shame. Now, if he takes a game over here, he'd have to go through all of the boss fights again, wouldn't he?
Yes, he would have to go through all of them, and unfortunately, it looks like there's no doesn't look like he used the refills, so it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get through
It looks like Bobdedbuilder has chosen to forfeit.
yeah, which means that if CapitanBublo can finish the his run, then we will he'll be the winner of this particular race. So I guess at the moment, it's like let's see. Without it doesn't look like we're getting audio from. Oh, looks. Bob is undone. He's gonna try. He's gonna keep going, I think. So we're going to see if we can maybe remove that forfeit from down there. But CapitanBublo is working on the Wily Machine right now. Yeah, unfortunately, you know, he's gonna need to game over to get his weapon energy and do all of the refights, which is definitely time consuming, but
yeah, unfortunately the Buster wasn't a good enough item, and with that, CapitanBublo is taking the lead here, getting through the gauntlet.
The only thing that might have been possible there is that because Machine was weak to crash bombs, it may have been possible to fire the crash bomb and hit, and have the crash bomb explode and do damage on multiple frames, which is a standard strat in vanilla Mega Man 2. I'm not certain if it works the same way in Randomizer. I actually haven't run into a Wily Machine that was weak to crash in my playthroughs yet, or at the very least I found something before I got to crash.
Looks like we have a blue alien with a green head, and looks like Quick Boomerang is not the right answer, nor is Metal Blade.
And looks like Crash is doing the damage here. Doesn't have a lot of ability to miss, though. So, and final hit, and CapitanBublo finishes the first run of the randomizer of his match with Bobdedbuilder with an official SRL time of, let's see, 105.10. So right on top of what he has on his timer. Looks like Bob's
gonna call it there and hopefully compose himself for game 2, as CapitanBublo has come from behind to take game 1.
It was definitely not an easy seed for sure. There were quite a few difficult hang-ups in this for both of the runners. Looks like we're doing some behind the scenes, making sure we get the runners reset here. CapitanBublo is going to try to correct his stream so we get a little more consistent view rate on him. So that'll happen, and then we'll get set up for the second race.
Now, that was definitely a rough seed, because I think the 3 stages where you didn't want to see the items be is exactly where all 3 of them were. And it just kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah, there were definitely a few sequences that were difficult, and unfortunately the way that some of the weaknesses worked out, it was difficult to finish off Wily Machine with the energy that was left over from the refights, and you know, that can happen where you run into just not having the right energy, and you pick up the energy refills that are in that machine fight by accident, and you can make life a lot more difficult for yourself. So it was definitely a tough seed, though. So we'll see what kind of seed we get in the next round, in round 2 of this match with best of 3. Looks like they have they have the new seed, so they're gonna compile that and put that together and get ready to go.